Hello, welcome back. Sean here, Mountains Garage. I'm looking up at you today. I've always looked up to you. It's a beautiful Friday afternoon. It's been a gorgeous day. A little chilly overnight. This morning the birds are chirping, the sun is out. The pollen seems to have subsided a tiny bit, but not without, dropping its green luster on everything. But that's okay. It's a little windy this afternoon. And that's the weather report. This is a shop update. My favorite videos because we just talk about random stuff and that suits me just fine. In the picture, on the thumbnail, is a Willys chassis. Sorry about my chair. A Willys frame sitting over on the floor. There was a Willys pickup on the left. That's outside in pieces. My buddy found a different frame. And my job is just to put the front and rear axle under it, get it rolling, set the cab back on it, and push it down the hill. So I'm glad he got a different frame. This one's in much better shape. And it's all sandblasted and not really rusted or anything. So I started taking the old one apart. And in the last video, and lots of other videos, I've mentioned how some questionable choices were made in the engineering of some of this junk that's put together. People get to a certain point where they don't know what they're doing, and instead of stopping and doing a little research and trying to figure out, they just press on. Good example right here. These are the front spring shackles for the leaf spring. From wherever they came from, they have a 1/2-inch hole. The bolt that fits through the spring is 7/16, so it's too small for the hole. What do? They booger weld a 7/16 washer on the outside in all the positions, and all the way to the vehicle is on those two little welds that are, not the prettiest. I don't know about structurally, but the entire vehicle is now sitting on the washer horizontally. Sure, it'll last for a couple miles, but that's not the deal. I mean, this is suspension work. You should probably take it serious. More often than not, that's exactly what you encounter. I'm so impressed when I take something apart that is built correctly. That's why I love my Race 55 Chevy. It's not finished, but the man that built it was a genius and a professional. Way out of my price range. And speaking of price range, if I had $1 million in my pocket every day, and I drove into the transfer station and saw this sitting on the curb. Now, there's a silent communication system that goes on at the dump or the transfer station. If this is sitting on the curb and the cord's all coiled up, and if it had a remote, if the remote is included with it, in dump speak, that means it probably still works. So here is this Harbor Freight 4x36 belt sander sitting on the curb. The cord's all, nicely put up. And I put it right in the back of my Suburban. I drag it home. I immediately invest $15 in a 12-pack of belts on Amazon. Those are here in 3 days, and the damn thing works just fine. Missing, one, the shield that would protect you from the belt. But there should be a 6-inch disc sander here that would spin with the belt, excuse me, and the little table, your work table, that would be here. But for the price I paid for it, I'll just be happy with the fact that it has a little belt. I have another belt sander over there that I use just for transmission parts. I got it laid flat, and that's how I flatten the surface of the servo cover for the low servo, and pressure plates and stuff like that. Excuse me, I've stopped taking a drink again. But hey, this could live anywhere in the shop, probably down yonder on my new little bench, and it saves me from walking. I'm at the point now I have, multiple of everything, so I don't have to walk so much. But hey, the price was right. I told you how I've been mad at myself since I gave my CO2 cylinder to the delivery driver when he was dropping off my argon CO2 mixed cylinder and my straight argon cylinder. I actually gave it to him when he was dropping off the straight argon about a month ago. In conversation, when he came to bring me the argon CO2 mix for the little Lincoln MIG welder, I told him I've been kicking myself because if I had used my brain instead of just an impulse thing, it's in my way. I gave it to him to dispose of, which in turn his boss didn't want to see it in their shop and wanted to get rid of it, so he gladly brought it back, and here it is. So I hopped the day it showed up, last Thursday, hopped right on the internet, Amazon. I bought a transfer hose. This will allow me to, with the mother bottle, the big bottle, probably freeze fill. By that, I take my small 5-pound cylinder. I have a 5-pound cylinder for the race car to run whatever you want to run with CO2, the air shifter, the wastegate, whatever it's going to have. And I also have a small 1.5 or 2-pound that came with an air shifter that I have. So when I used to freeze fill nitrous bottles, that means you take the empty cylinder and you put it in the freezer. Let it sit for however long you have. Usually I do it overnight. And my freezer was in my basement. My mother bottle was behind me, and I'd go get 2 bottles, carry them down here. You don't have to rush, even if it's a hot day. Bring them in the garage, hook them up because that bottle's cold, and if you can warm the other one up without killing yourself, an electric blanket works pretty good. That helps, but I never warmed up the mother bottle. You just put the small bottle that's frozen on the scale, and if it holds 5 pounds, you fill it from whatever its empty weight is, or its current weight. You need to know, most bottles, nitrous bottles anyway, tell you the full weight, because if you have a partial full bottle, that's going to skew. You can't put 5 pounds in a 5-pound bottle if there's already 2 pounds in it. So you have to know a little bit. The empty weight of the cylinder is good to know. With that, you can always calculate the rest. So I will try filling my cylinder now that I have my CO2 bottle back. Also, I picked up an adapter that will, on the small Lincoln MIG welder. It has CO2 settings. Instead of using argon CO2 mix, you can weld with CO2 and you actually use less heat, which I found surprising. So this stuff must allow it to burn hotter. I bought an adapter that would go from this, let me get it right, CGA 580 to a CGA 320. That's how they're rated. And this one here is, I think, 580 to 580. Don't quote me on that, but a little research tells you the different shape of the snozzle, which you can't see because I got the safety cover on it. You can look at a picture and figure out which ones you have and what you need for adapters. So that whole process of ordering the $20 worth of stuff I just showed you took about 5 minutes. You may have noticed in a previous video this brand new $47 axle that I found on Amazon of all places. It's a Yukon, which is a good brand. I buy their rear end parts all the time. It is nondescript. I believe it takes stock size wheel studs, takes a stock bearer, and I believe it's just a stock replacement axle. So I may not buy a second one. And what this does with a Ford Explorer 8.8 differential, which has become all the rage of the low buck crowd because it's a strong rear end. You can retrofit into just about anything, especially when you take the Explorer rear end, which has the driver's side axle is 2 7/8 longer than the right side axle. So you cut down the tube on the driver's side, you put 2 right side axles in it, and now it's around 59 or 60 inches, which is every vehicle on the road, you know, Camaro, Mustang, Nova, Chevelle was like 61 inches. You could sneak ½ inch aside. You're not going to see that. So the rear end width of most all your popular cars is within 1.5 inches most of the time. And you split that in half. You move a wheel and tire 3/4 of an inch on either side, you're probably not even going to pick it up with the naked eye. So The 8.8 Ford is now the darling of the low butt crowd because, again, they're really strong for what they are, and you can pick them up for 75 to 100 bucks at the junkyard. At least you could. Eventually the stock will run out, but right now they're really popular. And also, while I was shopping online, I bought a 373 gear set. I actually bought a 9-inch Ford gear set, and they sent me an 8.8 gear set instead, and I just kept it. So, and didn't bother sending it back. I figured, I knew I have a Model A frame outside that has an 8.8 in it, and now I have this Explorer 8.8 that I took in trade. Really didn't have any plans for it, but now if I start collecting parts for it, they're nice because they have, most of them a 3.73 ratio. They have a positive traction rear end and disc brakes with a parking brake. So if you can pick all that up when you go to the junkyard for 100 bucks or so, and even if you had to pay, even if you had to pay full price for this axle, I don't edit anything. I will leave all my mistakes in there. And apparently today I'm eating my tongue here. Full price on this axle is $175. So even if I had to buy another one, I'm going to have 200 bucks in a set of axles. Not bad. So my mission for the rest of the afternoon is to take this hunk of aluminum, round rod, put it in the lathe, and cut it down, and I'm going to make front spring hanger bushings for that Willys frame. It sounds odd to use aluminum, but most all stock cars use it. And if you buy, for instance, the Calvert style traction bars, you press out the front leaf spring bushing and they give you a solid aluminum one. So wear is not a problem, and if you wear it out, you can make more. But compared to the bushing and the little tin sleeve, this is probably a lot stronger. And I need to make it 7/8, and this is 1 inch, so it's not going to take a whole lot of turning. Each bushing's only 1 3/4 inches wide, so drill a 7/16 hole in the middle, and that'll fix that. Then I need to make new shackles. While I'm sitting here talking, I guess I could weld them up and re-drill the holes, but probably easier just to take some flat bar and start over. All extra work, but that's okay. As long as I do my job correctly, at least the best of my ability, I'm going to leave it better than I found it. So I guess that's it today. Hope you have a wonderful Friday. I think I might go to the drag strip tonight. I'm lucky, even though I'm in Maine, I have 3, might as well count 4 drag strips, all within 4 hours for sure, but most of them are within 2 hours. So, and the one I'm going to tonight is only 45 minutes up the road, and I have pretty much built everybody there a Turbo 400. So why not go up and watch? Actually, my friend has a 55 Chevy with a tunnel rammed LS 6-liter or 6.2. It looks like a gasser, but it has a modern engine in it. He's got it really camouflaged pretty well. It looks like a small block Chevy unless you really get looking at it. And he's got a G-Force 4-speed, and I've never seen it run in person. I've seen videos, so he hauls it on an old school wedge ramp truck. So pretty cool. I think I'm gonna slide on up. I have to drop my son off to go on a scouting adventure, camping overnight, and that's halfway there, so I'm just gonna keep on going. So enjoy your evening and your weekend, and I'll talk to you soon.